I often say that a master entrepreneur can learn something about life and business from almost anything. A good story, a good movie, a good film, a political situation. You can always learn something about life and business. And obviously, as a Christian entrepreneur, when we look at the world of the spiritual traditions, we can learn something that will be vital for being successful as entrepreneurs. And today I'd like to talk about that because this is a special day. For those who celebrate the Jewish tradition, and even those of us who are not of the tradition, but we certainly see value in the celebration, today is the day, the high holy day of Yom Kippur. And because it's that day, I'd like to take a few moments today to talk about what you can learn about life and business as an entrepreneur from Yom Kippur. And then let me tell you why I'm so grateful that even though I'm not of that faith tradition, I'm so glad that my little grandson goes to a Jewish school. Those are just a few thoughts for today. You can join me, talk back to me, respond to me, perhaps even join me in celebrating the day and the good things right now, because the program begins right now. Okay, what can I learn? Well, Yom Kippur is the Day of Atonement, or sometimes people put it this way. Atonement is A-T-O-N-E, at one. At one-ment might be a way to actually say and think about the word atonement. Now, here's what the day basically consists of. So think about this, and particularly what it might mean to you in your life and business. First of all, the very idea is one of profession. Profession means just that. It's something you profess. It's something you believe in deeply. And in fact, isn't it ironic that the word professional, which we use to describe somebody who gets paid and who's supposedly good at what they do, was originally based on the term that to be a professional is you had to be a believer. You had to have some core beliefs and practices in your life and business. To be a professional, you had a profession. You had not only the profession, but the belief system, a profession. And so, those who are in the tradition affirm the place of God and God's Spirit and our place in the universe and in relation to God. And because of that, we have messed up. The entire story begins by Adam and Eve doing their own thing, singing the Frank Sinatra song and doing it their own way, and it did not work out well. So the next thing you need to do is confession. You just simply say, in the past year, there are things that I need to confess. I perhaps shouldn't have done those things. I should reflect on my life and confess that there are ways in terms of God and man and creation and women and creation and children, all of God's creation. There are certain things that I should just confess that I missed the mark. I didn't make it. And then you receive forgiveness. It's forgiven. It's been taken care of. It's been atoned for. And as a result of that, you can have a renewal. That's right. Your life has a second start over. It has another startup. It means you can begin again. A new and fresh year is before you. And so there's renewal. And that renewed spirit can lead to another R word called resurrection. There's kind of a rising up, not only just from the dead, but a rising up of our spirit, a resurrection of our hopes, our intentions. It's what we had let go, what we had let die, what we had forgotten, it's renewed. It's resurrected. And that's a fundamental theme, particularly of the Jewish and Christian tradition, resurrection. And as a result of that, we are rescued. Now, that's a vital word. You see, what I point out is that almost every good business is in the rescue business of small things or big things. We're helping people put things back together, rescuing what was lost, redeeming, restoring what we need, recovering what we need to recover. We are, in effect, always involved in every good story is a rescue story. We're all in the rescue business of some kind. That will come to you if you think strongly about Yom Kippur. Think about that. You're in business. What do you profess? What's your belief system? What do you need from time to time to just confess? One of my colleagues, a mentor, said, every day I hope that in some way I am humiliated so I can learn and confess that I did something wrong and learn from it and seek forgiveness. And in seeking forgiveness, I can be renewed, I can be resurrected in hopes and intentions, and I can be rescued. And in doing so, I can help others who need the same God's special experience that I've just had. Now, with that in mind, be smart, please. Think about how what Yom Kippur means to those of faith, what it can also mean to you as a man or a woman, not only of faith, but of business, of being one of those kinds of good people in the marketplace. Please just let that sit on your head for a few minutes, and then we'll continue. We'll be right back. My hopes were rescued. My dear wife, Karen, and I, as a result of family situations and circumstances, we were afraid that even though we would have loved it, that we were not going to be able to have any grandchildren, which of course is not fully, it's not at all under our control, but it happened. And even though we're a little bit advanced for it, 3 years ago, Arlo was born to our daughter in New York City. And it turned out not only was he a bright child, it was obviously true that, and I mean bright in the sense of smiling, cheery, outgoing. But soon we discovered, obviously, he had a little more going for him. He was a bright child. And so he needs the experience, and his mother needs to work, and so they sought out a preschool for him for some of the days when she literally needed more time to do her work as a writer and an editor in a going New York City operation. And what they found was a little Jewish center a few blocks down, and in the Jewish center there was a preschool. And even though they're not of that tradition, they went in and they applied, and Arlo was accepted. And so 3 to 4 times a week he goes to school. And it is just that, run by those men and women in the Jewish tradition. And it actually flows out 3 generations ago, this wonderful center of an immigrant entrepreneur who was able to make it from nothing, the rags to the riches, and then pass that on, passed it forward, and through children and grandchildren, the center is a beacon of light and hope and faith for people in that small part of the Lower East Side, in the old tenement section of New York City. Arlo loves it there. And one of the things I have discovered that he loved to do, because he caught right onto it, is the Sabbath blessing of the bread. The special bread that is celebrated at the Seder. And he loves to take his hands and put his hands around the bread and repeat, even though he certainly doesn't understand it, the Hebrew term of blessing. I'm so glad for that. He is being affirmed, and what I point out is this: Arlo is learning how to bless. How to bless the bread and say thanks. And we're trying to focus on that by saying, is Arlo, we are in the world to not just bless the bread, but to bless others, to be a blessing, to make blessings for many things. And you know what? He's beginning to get that. Because right now, he's learned that you're supposed to, and he enjoys it. He loves it. He loves to do the blessing. I want to teach him for the rest of his life that he is in business to put the hands up and pronounce the blessings. Be a blessing. He will learn that. I'm so grateful. And then I just simply want to remind him that the good things that come to him because of a spirit force. This is not just the world of material stuff that we see every day in the crowded and rushing city and streets of New York City, but it's much more than that. That there is in the world and in our own experience something that we have to come in contact with and we have to do something about. There is a spirit force that brings us all of these good things, which makes it possible for us to bless others and to be a blessing to others. And so I'm so glad that in the school where he is at, he is exposed to those two very powerful ideas. Do the blessing. Be the blessing. And there is a force and a spirit and something far beyond us that will embolden us, make us brave, help us make it through the days, and help us to bless others. Because you know what? You do one or the other. You bless them or you don't. And if you don't bless them, perhaps you do something else. And I want him to know that he is in the business as a young boy and as he grows to manhood to bless others. I'm Stan Houston. This is the Master Entrepreneur. Thank you for your time today. I just wanted to do this on Yom Kippur Day. I wanted to let you know that I celebrate with my friends the Yom Kippur tradition, that I as an entrepreneur can learn from that. And also, by the way, I'm so glad that Arlo is in that tradition of blessing and putting and taking advantage of the spirit force in the universe and in the world he lives in. And may it be so for all of us. I'm Stan Houston. Shalom. Best and blessings. Bye for now.